Today's episode is not a "we've closed the deal" story. It's more important than that. This is the story of how a founder who couldn't break through went from knocking on doors to sitting face to face with multiple serious European IP licensee targets. If you're an innovator, founder, engineer, or product creator trying to license intellectual property, this episode will show you that there is a formula. You'll learn how to identify the right IP licensee targets, why research is non-negotiable, what preparation actually moves serious companies to engage, and how confidence changes when you have a structured pathway. This isn't about hype, it's about method. If you really value commercialisation strategy, subscribe to the channel. Today, I'm joined by Ben Hyde, inventor of the Insulated Multi-Tool, and we're unpacking the real journey from frustration to genuine engagement in Europe. Let's go. Hello, Ben, and welcome along to the podcast.
Trevor, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here, mate, particularly after our recent trip. But I might start with the viewers for you to just go back to that beginning. What problem did you personally experience that led to the idea for the Insulated Multi-Tool?
Well, Trevor, there was many instances that I was coming across where people were using multi-tools to do live work.
Yeah, live work.
Live work.
Oh, shit.
But they were full metal. And so I thought, surely there's a solution. And I searched and searched and searched, and there was nothing.
Oh, wow.
So, and then as I got a bit older, I traveled the world. I worked in high-end department complexes in London and realized that they wanted you to be an electrician but not look like an electrician. And so I thought, how can we not have a tool belt in our pocket but still have some tools?
Yeah, okay, cool. So when you first thought of the concept, how confident were you that it had, some commercial potential versus just being a clever idea?
Well, I didn't really know. So a good idea is basically worthless until it's been created, patented, and then worked towards a prototype.
Yep.
And that's when I met my brilliant engineer, Scott Farley, F3ID.
Excellent. Yes, know Scott well.
None of this would be possible without Scott.
True. So I'm curious about, how that went. What did you do first? Was it the patents or the designs or the other way around?
We did an innovation patent first to, I suppose, check that it was a possibility to go down this route. And then once we got that across the line, it was real like, what, we're for real here. Let's do it.
Okay.
So then, Scott put a proposal in front of me, and it started from initial drawings right through to a functioning prototype.
Fantastic. And so he helped you actually develop something that had never been done before.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
He's good at that.
It's pretty easy to have the idea.
Yes. So taking those next steps and securing that intellectual property and then getting the designs right were really critical first steps. Brilliant. You also spoke to other commercialisation consultants internationally before we met. Without naming anyone's name, what was missing in those early attempts to gain traction?
Look, they each had their own way of doing things, but nothing just seemed to break through. There's a combination of reasons. At first, my patents were not fully published, and if you haven't gone down that route before, it's a bloody long process.
Long journey, yes.
Yeah, long journey, many different jurisdictions. And then I had just the wrong people in the wrong positions, and also not understanding international markets as well.
Yeah.
You need to get out of your own bubble, regardless of where you are or where you come from. And if it's an international product, you need to take into account the international market.
Great advice. So at this stage, you haven't been able to get any traction. So when you couldn't get that serious engagement, what did it do to your confidence? And just before you answer that, Ben, I actually want our viewers to pay real attention here, because this emotional phase is where most innovators either quit or pivot strategically. So back to you, Ben. What did it do to your confidence?
It was quite disheartening. I really knew that I had something. And look, your family and friends can tell you that you're clever and you've got this awesome product, but until you take the next step, it all means nothing.
Moving forward, you were actually introduced to me through Scott Farley. What was your mindset walking into that first discovery meeting we had, which for the viewers, I will add, is a free service we provide to innovators to assess the innovative idea they got. But yeah, what was your mindset when you're coming in with another bloody consultant?
Well, my other business interests, I'm really embracing innovation and AI and new technology, try and stay ahead of the game and move forward. And when I did some research on Advivo's approach, it's kind of aligned with where I am and what I'm doing. And so I was really interested to take the next step or hear about it.
Yeah, brilliant. And so after we went through and we, did that discovery meeting, I guess what was it that actually appealed to you about the approach?
Uh, I suppose, as I said, it wasn't just my friends and family now talking to me about having something that's a product that's viable. It was actually some technology,
Yeah,
proven technology. And I suppose it just opened my eyes to the research required and that I hadn't done that before. And so
yeah,
I was disheartened by what had happened previously, but
yeah,
there'd been little to no research done. So I was really interested to see what we could achieve with the
yeah,
right research.
brilliant. And I have to give it to you, Ben. It's that persistence that many innovators need in order to find the right pathway. So, good on you for sticking at it.
Yeah, I've been told many times by people that I highly respect in the industry that what's not the best idea. And
Really?
yeah, I'll embrace that feedback, but push forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll talk further about that because it's interesting how the idea has actually evolved in the clarity of who it's actually for, isn't it? But we'll come to that a bit later. So we conducted the Galileo workshop around about early September 2025. Going through that and getting your report, what did that process do to clarify something that hadn't been clear to you before then?
I suppose it just gave me a bit of validation. Although we hadn't spoke to companies as such, there was real black and white in front of me. There's no fuzzing the numbers or figures.
Yep.
This is your opportunities that we've got, and there's no maybes this or maybe that.
The markets were clear.
They're very clear. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Which turned out to be a really important aspect when talking to potential licensees. But so once you got through that, you saw, yes, this tool is actually for some specific niche markets, not just every electrician out there, although eventually it would be. But how did that sort of shift your confidence once you saw that and the next steps were to go into that qualitative research?
Yeah, it encouraged me. It gave me the confidence to push forward. Whereas previously in the past, you're just putting energy and money into things that was all just a maybe.
Excellent. So just for our viewers, what surprised you most about the depth of research required before approaching licensees? Leave a comment below. I'll be interested to get your feedback. There'll be more to come around that research as we work through this with Ben. One of the big lessons here is that there's a formula for identifying ideal IP licensees. From your perspective, Ben, what changed in how we selected the targets?
So I suppose previously it was just in my head and other commercialization companies that I had dealt with was target the big and best, and they'll love it and they'll take it on, and you can't even get a reply email. And I suppose then seeing the research that you and Advivo conducted, it's really targeted to the companies that are looking to disrupt the bigger players, targeting
Yeah.
companies that are known for quality and premium hand tools. That if you did get it into market, it's going to be backed by a known name.
Yeah. That's right. And it was interesting, wasn't it, that we actually went to those sort of second and third tier players rather than the big incumbents out there who can be a bit arrogant and too busy to have a look at what you've got, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very, very, very interesting.
So Ben, what role did research play in demonstrating that this tool solves a real job to be done and the frustrations electricians have with their own toolkit by not having the insulated multi-tool?
Well, again, I can tell it to as many people as I like and think it, but until we get a bit of market validation from the end users, it means nothing. And so again, we've had Vivo support the research that we gain talking to electricians, understanding their needs, and understanding that they agree with me how useful it could be in certain situations.
Yeah, yeah. And can you recall some of those jobs that we identified, collectively that they're trying to get done?
Yeah, so crawling through a roof space with a bunch of tools in your pocket and sharp screwdrivers and
Ouch.
stuff is just a pain in the ass,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's not efficient.
yeah,
Also, kind of something that I worked with over in the UK was kind of having to park a kilometre away from your job and maybe not having the tools or not having any tools.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, many people identified that working at heights, working remote, working a long way from your toolkit. There was just many different situations where it would be very valuable. And again, I'd like to highlight that because there'll be electricians listening that maybe would not like the idea. And I'd like to say I'm really not trying to replace traditional tools. This is to complement our
Yeah.
electrical tools.
And that came out really strongly, didn't it, when we actually conducted the qualitative interviews, of which we record only with people's permissions, but their frustrations came out. You remember what some of those frustrations were?
Yeah. Yeah, they were frustrated that they'd get all the way through a roof and a screwdriver had fallen out of their pocket at some point,
Yeah.
or they'd have to walk a kilometre back to their ute to just
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a pair of pliers, or even supervisors doing inspections or quotes. They could just have this in their pocket rather than to carry tools and look a lot more professional.
No, that it came through really strongly, and I think that's one of the things that really helped us position the tool, because we began to understand that, it's not a tool to replace precision tools for jobs that you're doing a long time, but this is a tool that you wish you'd have when you get into those sort of situations, wasn't it?
Yep, yep, very much so.
Yeah. So before traveling, Ben, what did you do to prepare yourself so that you'd be confident in representing the invention?
I researched the companies that we're meeting with. I made
Yeah.
sure I fully understood my patent as much as I could, because patent talk is a whole nother language.
Yeah, it's another game.
Yep, it's a whole nother game. A small but important thing I think is I knew the key stakeholders meeting with. I tried to make sure I had the pronunciation of their names right. I think it's a bit of a respect thing,
Yes.
and shows that you care about what you're doing and you're ready to be there.
And you also took a little gift. Tell us about that.
I did. I did. I wasn't sure what to get, and I'm from North Queensland. Not sure everyone would appreciate a piece of real crocodile leather or something like that. So
Yeah.
I bring just a little jar of sand from the Great Barrier Reef with a shell, and
Yeah.
presented that to them.
y-
And
y-
it surprisingly it went down really well.
It was, wasn't it? And it's not about, influencing their end decision making. It's not what it's about. It's about building rapport with people. And we actually had one of the companies that we met and presented you presented it to them, and he said, "Oh, my son wants to be a marine biologist, and he knows the barrier reef back to front.
Yeah,
This is
couldn't be
awesome."
more couldn't be more
Yeah,
perfect.
it's an important little step. It's just to show respect that they're giving up their time in order to meet you. So that was really well done, Ben. But without mentioning any names or locations beyond the fact that we were in Europe, what was the objective of the initial outreach meetings in your mind, Ben?
It was to learn and understand understand the thoughts and feelings coming from the other side of this, I suppose.
Mm,
That, like, as the inventor, you can't sort of move forward with commercialization without a partner, and so it was really interesting to try and understand. Obviously, getting a deal is the ultimate goal, but it wasn't necessarily the main focus. It was to have discussions, take on feedback, positive or negative, and really just understand their thinking and, yeah, what's the best way to move forward from our point of view.
absolutely. And I think that's a really important tip for our viewers is that when you're going to have these meetings, you're not actually selling the IP. For us, Ben, it was very much also about identifying, are they the right partner? Do they have product market fit with the insulated multi-tool to who their market was and is, and how would they go about actually marketing this and providing the best return for you, wasn't it?
Yep, very
Yeah,
much.
yeah. And the NDAs were pretty important in the process as well, correct?
Very, yeah, very much so. We had to get, yeah. So, it goes to have the legal support team on board.
So that's non-disclosure agreements for any of our viewers who are not familiar with the term NDAs. Very important to put in place, not just for the actual legal protection, but it also demonstrates that you're very professional, you know what you're doing. So Ben, when we secured face-to-face meetings, what was our goal walking into those rooms?
Well, yeah, as I said, learn about them as a company and try and understand their processes and next steps if there was a deal to go ahead.
Mm.
I believe it also a small part of it to let them know that we did have other parties interested.
So how were you received in those meetings, did you feel?
Obviously, going into a meeting like that, like I'm just an old electrician from North Queensland, and so now I'm on the other side of the world walking into a boardroom. But I'm confident with the product that I've got, and so therefore I
Yeah.
feel I portrayed that confidently when I was in the room.
Yes, you did, Ben. It was actually great for them to see the authenticity of the inventor and to understand, and you told your story about why you saw a problem and how it impacts you. And because you are an electrician, I think that you were held in very high esteem there, Ben. So that came out really well. When each of those companies agreed to move the innovation into their own research and production costings, how did that feel to you?
I suppose it felt good. It was a small weight off the shoulders in regards. I finally had a bit of market validation.
Hmm.
It wasn't just a flat out no. Now, I don't necessarily mean to say that they were a yes either, but to have people of that stature in the industry or engineers and have them interested and seeing their brains tick over regarding my invention, it made me feel proud and it made me feel validated.
Yeah, you should, because these are some of the really long term producers of tools for electricians. They've been around for decades, in some cases more than a century, and here they are congratulating you for the concept that you developed and the prototype that you had there. Yeah, it must have felt really good for you, Ben. But again, it doesn't mean to say there's a deal there. But the important thing to understand is this is a step-by-step process that you work through with the targeted IP licensees. So, Ben, from September to late January, after how many years had you been sort of trying to get some traction? 4 or 5?
Yeah, even a little bit more. Yeah, personally, a couple of years longer, so 6, 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we go from September. We're actually meeting them in Europe in late January. So how does that 4 to 5 month journey compare to the years before it?
Well, it's quite a whirlwind, but it highlighted where we went wrong all those years, and yeah, I just was really like obviously the speed of my journey with Advivo speaks for itself.
No, thank you for that, Ben. I will say here, whenever working with clients, it's an absolute partnership, and your input and your access to you when you're a busy contractor, electrician contractor with about 40 staff.
Yeah, 40 staff.
So it's not a little operation you're running there, Ben, but yeah, that was awesome that we were able to work so effectively together in our preparation to go there. So, I mean, that's a nice segue into the next question, which is, what did having that structured pathway do to your decision making and your clarity?
Well, yeah, it just gave me confidence, I suppose. Previously, your time is money and money is money. And there was really not even thinking twice about it. Once the steps were in place, the research was done and the opportunity was there. As you said, we need to grab the opportunity with both hands. And so, yeah, we didn't hesitate.
Yeah. No, so you didn't just have us involved. You obviously had Scott from 3F Industrial Design and also the team at Michael Buck IP. So how important is it to you, Ben, to surround yourself with the right team on this licensing journey?
Yeah, look, this has been over 10 years for me, and having the right team around you is paramount. It gives you a sense of confidence and calmness, and just knowing that whatever's thrown at us as a team, it's going to be dealt with people at the top of their field.
Yeah, and a lot of things do get thrown at you, don't they? They come
It's
out of
incredible.
left field that you just don't expect. Oh, didn't know we had to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Commercialisation companies need to know everything from legal, accounting, patents, marketing, in the works.
Absolutely. And that's why we partner up with, these great companies that they're very focused on the customer and that is, centric to the way they operate, which is why we love working with them. So has this process allowed you to continue running your core business without being consumed by the uncertainty?
It has. I'm not going to lie. The whole process has been and is extremely challenging. My contracting company is more than a full-time job, which
Yeah.
I'm sure many people listening to this will agree.
Yep.
Although I love it, it presents me with never-ending challenges, and sort of having the perfect team for this innovation project sort of lets me push forward with my contracting and the innovation project at the same time. But they're both getting their full focus, but not both
Yep.
from me.
Yeah, the effort that you put in, you're a hard worker. That's clearly clear to us, Ben. But yeah, it is part of the role, whether it's the IP attorneys or Scott or ourselves, to try and take as much pressure off you and do a lot of that groundwork and strategic work to guide you through. So that's what the team is really made up of now. So I guess for our viewers, Ben, what would be your top 3 tips for innovators seeking IP licensing agreements?
Well, as we just said, surround yourself with the right team.
Mm-hmm.
Research, which I didn't understand or realize at the start, but research has got me very, very far in a short amount of time with your help.
Yep.
Researching end users, manufacturers, retailers, competitors,
Yeah.
markets, industries, the works. And be prepared for it to take time. And I know it's very exciting to have something like this and exciting about the potential, what would happen at the end potentially. But yeah, take your time with it and be patient.
Great advice, Ben. All those points you made, they're just the reality of innovation and commercialization. It's not a linear process. Yes, there is a step-by-step process, but within each of those steps, there can be a lot of pivoting and a lot of back and forward and redoing research and all that sort of thing. So they're really good
Look,
tips.
I compare it a little bit to one of my best mate. He's an ultra marathon runner. I don't know if you know them. Most of them are a bit
Yes.
crazy.
Yep. Mostly.
And as he's doing 100 kilometers through a mountain, he says to himself, "I've come too far to just come this far."
Yeah.
And I compare that to a patent commercialization journey.
What a great analogy. I love that one. I really like that one. I'm going to start using that if that's all right with you. If someone is watching this and they're stuck with the no traction phase, what would you tell them?
I'd tell him to give you a call and
Yes,
at least
thank you.
at least sit through, get
Stop.
through the Galileo workshop. It will tell you it'll tell you a lot in a small space of time, and it'll tell you whether you should push forward, or it might open and honestly tell you maybe don't push forward.
Very good point. So looking back, Ben, what was the single most pivotal decision in this journey?
I wouldn't say it was a single decision, but over the years, the more I heard from people that it maybe wasn't a good idea or it wouldn't work out, kind of drove me to push harder for it.
And I'd also suggest that, it drove you to work smarter. And for me, Ben, it was like seeing literally those videos of electricians talking about, the jobs that they're trying to get done and how frustrated they are when they don't have something like the insulated multi-tool at hand and it mucks up their day, or, they're stuck in the ceiling or whatever. It just pisses them off.
Yeah.
So that's always a really good indicator that there's a market out there that are in pain and they're looking for a solution. So, that's what we're on about. So apart from that, let's talk about a couple of the fun things that we experienced on the trip. I arrived in Zurich. You'd already been touring the Swiss Alps for a couple of days, and we took off in snow. And the next day, what happened that you did that you'd never done before?
I drove on the wrong side of the road in a snowstorm in a performance car on the Autobahn. And I loved it.
Yeah, and you did really well. And I think you ended up driving a lot of the rest of the sort of way and, did really well, particularly even around the cities where you came up with a solution to all problems of driving on the wrong side of the road. Follow the car in front of you.
Yep. Now I have a navigator. You can focus on the road. They can focus on the GPS.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And for a guy from North Queensland, there we were on the day before we flew out of Amsterdam, where it was what was the feel like temperature?
Feels like -11.
So with the trip, Ben, it was something that was very fun to experience with you. But of course, we were there for the business, and we walked away with the companies that we'd presented to, at least deciding to go into that next phase of their own research and costing it all out and all that sort of stuff. So we look forward to hearing some news and continue on the path because, as I said, it's not a linear one. So how confident are you to know that there is a licensee out there who will value your insulated multi-tool?
Yeah, look, I'm really confident, especially after between the Advivo research and then getting market validation from Europe. I'm confident there will be a deal out there. Whether that's what that partner looks like, I'm not entirely sure yet. But yeah, I have strong confidence that there's a deal on the table so very soon.
Yes, I have confidence for you too, Ben, because I think the market research does show that there is a market out there. It's just a matter of finding the right licensee to be able to take that up and grab that opportunity and disrupt their competitors. So we know there's a few in the game, and we'll persist with that. So what I want viewers to understand is this. So this episode is not about celebrating the deal. We're not there yet. But it is about celebrating progress, structured, strategic progress. Ben didn't get lucky. He identified a real problem through lived experience, protected his IP, invested in proper design, committed to research, and understood that licensing is about strategic value, not just an invention, and surrounded himself with a capable team. So the Galileo Live process wasn't about hype. It was about answering fundamental questions. Where is the real market? Who is the ideal licensee? Why is this strategically valuable to them? How do we position it step by step? That research is what has enabled us to walk into Europe with clarity and walk out with serious companies committing to internal research and production costings. Is the deal done yet? No. Is it in progress, built on method rather than hype? Absolutely. So if you're an innovator watching this and you want to understand whether your idea truly has licensing potential, the first step is structured validation, and that's what Galileo Live is designed to do. Ben, thank you for willing to come on and share this journey openly.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
There's some really great lessons, lived lessons through what your experiences are, and what you're doing here is actually really encouraging other people to take the right steps. So hopefully there'll be someone out there that you've just educated to go about it in the right way. So to everyone watching, if you found value in understanding the process behind commercializing IP, subscribe to the channel, but also you're interested in how the Galileo Live workshop, you can find out more details on our website. I'll put that link down in the description if you would like to book a discovery meeting, which is free of charge. So that's it for this episode. I hope you really enjoyed this frank and open discussion with innovator Ben Hyde. This is That Product Market Fit Guy, and we'll see you in the next episode. Ciao for now.